The video shouldn't have existed. For over 30 years, it had been buried, erased from television archives, scrubbed from databases, and locked away like a secret too dangerous to be known. But now, it was everywhere. A grainy clip of a younger Morgan Freeman sitting across from a long-forgotten journalist played on millions of screens. His voice, steady as always, carried words no one expected. "People don't want freedom," he said, his eyes locked onto the interviewer. "They want control. And if they think they have it, they'll never realize who's really pulling the strings." The clip cut off abruptly. No context, no follow-up. Just those haunting words. Within minutes, Twitter exploded. Just Freeman exposed shot to the top of trending topics. Conspiracy theorists hailed it as proof of everything they had ever suspected. News anchors debated its meaning. But one question overshadowed everything else. Why was this interview banned in the first place? And who brought it back now? Within hours, every major news network scrambled to control the narrative. Some claimed the clip was taken out of context. Others suggested it was fabricated. But one fact remained: no one could find the full interview. The station that had originally aired it, WBC News, denied ever broadcasting such a conversation. Their archives held no record of it. Yet the footage was real. Experts analyzed the video frame by frame. No signs of deepfake technology. The lighting, the mannerisms, the voice. It was undeniably Morgan Freeman. But if it was real, why had it disappeared for 3 decades? Reporters swarmed his representatives, demanding answers. His team remained silent, refusing to confirm or deny its authenticity. But then, a shocking twist surfaced. A retired WBC news producer, Gregory Shaw, stepped forward. In a shaky voice, he admitted, "I was there when it aired, and I was there when they made it disappear." His statement sent shockwaves across the media. If Shaw was telling the truth, then this wasn't just about Morgan Freeman's words. It was about who had tried to silence them, and why. Gregory Shaw's revelation sent the media into a frenzy. Every major outlet rushed to interview him. But before anyone could reach him, he disappeared. His phone went straight to voicemail. His apartment was empty. No one knew where he had gone. Conspiracy theories exploded online. Some believed Shaw had gone into hiding, fearing for his life. Others whispered that he had been silenced by Hollywood, by the government, by forces too powerful to name. But one journalist, Emily Rhodes, refused to let the story die. She spent hours digging through old station records, searching for any trace of the lost interview. Then, at 3:42 a.m., she found something. A deleted entry from 1991. It wasn't the interview itself, but a single note in the station's archives: "Do not air again. Directive from above." No explanation, no details. Just that chilling instruction. Emily's hands trembled as she stared at the screen. Directive from above. What did that mean? Who had ordered the interview to be erased? And more importantly, what had Morgan Freeman said that made it so dangerous? She knew only one person could answer that question. Morgan Freeman himself. Emily Rhodes wasted no time. She drafted an email to Morgan Freeman's team, requesting an interview. No response. She called his publicist. Straight to voicemail. Hours turned into days, and the silence only made things more suspicious. Then, out of nowhere, she received a text message from an unknown number. "Stop digging. You don't know what you're getting into." Her heart pounded. Was this a warning? A threat? She quickly traced the number. It was a burner phone, impossible to track. But instead of backing down, she doubled her efforts. She posted her findings online, forcing the story to stay alive. If someone wanted to scare her into silence, they had just made a mistake. That night, as she sat in her apartment, her phone rang. Unknown caller. She hesitated before answering. "Hello?" A deep, unmistakable voice responded. "Ms. Rhodes, this is Morgan Freeman. I think it's time we talked." Emily sat frozen, gripping her phone. Morgan Freeman's voice carried the same weight it always had. Calm, measured, yet impossibly powerful. "I assume you have questions," he said. She swallowed hard. "Is the interview real?" she asked, skipping any pretense. "Did you say those words?" A pause. Then, "Yes," Morgan admitted, "but the part you've seen is only a fraction of the truth." Emily's mind raced. Why was it banned? Who ordered it to be erased? Morgan exhaled, and for the first time, he sounded tired. "Because I said something people weren't ready to hear," he said. "And because the wrong people were listening." The cryptic answer sent a chill down Emily's spine. "Who are the wrong people?" she pressed. Another pause. Then Morgan spoke carefully. "Miss Rhodes, the world you think you know, it isn't run by the people you see on television. It's run by the ones you don't see." His voice dropped lower. "And they don't like it when someone pulls back the curtain." Emily's breath caught in her throat. She had started this investigation thinking it was about a lost interview, but now she realized this was something much bigger. Emily gripped her phone tighter. "Are you saying you exposed something dangerous in that interview?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Morgan hesitated, as if choosing his words carefully. "I was younger then," he said. "Less careful. I spoke about things I shouldn't have, things that go beyond Hollywood, things about who really decides what the public sees, hears, and believes." Emily's pulse quickened. "And they erased it?" "They didn't just erase it," Morgan said, his voice darkening. "They erased the memory of it. News stations obeyed without question. Journalists stopped asking, and over time, the world forgot it ever existed. Until now." Emily's laptop sat open in front of her, news sites still flooded with headlines. "But why did it resurface now? Who leaked it?" Morgan's voice was lower now, almost a whisper. "That's what worries me." He paused, then said something that sent ice through her veins. "I didn't bring it back, Miss Rhodes. And if I didn't, then whoever did wants something much bigger than the truth." Emily felt a chill crawl up her spine. If Morgan Freeman hadn't leaked the interview, then someone else had. Someone with power. Someone playing a game she didn't yet understand. "Then who?" she asked. "Who would want this out now, after all these years?" Morgan sighed. "That's the question, isn't it?" He paused. "But understand this. Whoever leaked it didn't do it to help the truth. They did it to control it." Emily's thoughts raced. Someone had held onto this interview for decades, waiting for the perfect moment to release it. But why? What was different now? She opened her laptop, scanning the internet. That's when she saw it. Something that made her blood run cold. A new headline. "Morgan Freeman to be investigated for ties to underground political groups." Her hands trembled as she scrolled. The article twisted his words, framing him as a dangerous figure, someone who had been secretly influencing the public for years. The leaked interview wasn't exposing a cover-up. It was building a new one. Emily's voice shook. "Morgan, they're not just trying to bury you. They're trying to make you the villain." Silence. Then, for the first time, she heard something in Morgan Freeman's voice that she never expected. Fear. For the first time in her career, Emily Rhodes felt truly out of her depth. The story had flipped. Morgan Freeman wasn't just a man with a buried interview. He was now the target of a carefully orchestrated attack. Someone had leaked that footage not to reveal the truth, but to rewrite it. "Morgan," she said, trying to steady her voice, "who are they trying to turn you into?" His breath was slow, deliberate. "A threat," he murmured. "A man with influence who's out of control. And once the public believes that—" He trailed off. Emily finished his thought. They can justify silencing you for good." She knew how these things worked. A few more headlines. A sudden wave of anonymous sources claiming he had radical views. Then his legacy wouldn't just be questioned. It would be destroyed. People wouldn't remember him for his wisdom, his movies, or his voice. They'd remember the version of him they were told to believe. Emily's laptop chimed, another email from an unknown sender. She clicked it without thinking. And the moment. She saw the words on the screen, her stomach dropped. You have one chance to walk away. If you don't, you'll be buried with him. She looked at her phone. Morgan was silent, as if he already knew. Miss Rhodes, he said finally, you need to decide something. Do you want to report a story, or do you want to fight a war? Emily swallowed hard. She knew the answer, and whoever was behind this. They were about to find out.